We've had another villager attacked by the predator. Oh no, she's going to lose to that wolf, isn't she? And yeah, so she's been bitten by the wolf and she has rabies. Run, Fiona. You okay? No, she's done, isn't she? Yeah, she's going to be done here. Looks like she was building our farm. But the wolf has taken her out. Run, Fiona. It's like her friend's coming to save her. Hello people, and welcome to Farthest Frontier. I hope you're having a wonderful day. The devs have sent me an early access key for this, and it is a gritty, realistic settlement survival / city builder, and from what I've played so far, it is certainly one of the better ones. So we're thinking kind of in the vein of Foundation, Settlement Survival, Banished here, but it has a more gritty art style to it, and it is a ton of fun. So I'm very much looking forward to showing you all today. Let's dive into a new settlement together. So we have 3 difficulty levels to start from: Pioneer, Trailblazer and Vanquisher, each of which make the resource hunting and wildlife, hostile forces and healthcare diversity significantly harder the higher up the difficulties you go. We can set up a map name here, so we'll go for England of course, and then we can choose our terrain. So there's arid highlands, alpine valleys, lowland lakes and plains, each of which have different environmental difficulties. I think we're going to go for alpine valleys. That's a really cool one. And we can also affect the map size here as well, which will go for large. There is also a pacifist mode, which will disable raiding parties, invading armies, aggressive animals like wolves and bears. So there is combat in this game. You do have to defend against aggressive animals like wolves and bears, and indeed invading armies as well. We can come into advanced settings and you can tweak the exact sort of difficulties for each of the aspects of the game. And one of the best things about this game, each of the maps have a seed. They are randomly generated. You can hit the dice here to re-roll the map seed. So really cool that, you know, you're not always going to be playing the same map every single time, which is a huge bonus for a game like this in my opinion. So we'll go for this and we'll get started.
Life can be harsh everywhere, but in the old world, there was no hope of it ever improving. When our crops failed, the ruling class would still collect the same share, leaving our children to starve. And if we had any coin to our name, the taxman would appear, demanding it for the crown. The nobles hid behind the safety of their walls and did nothing when raiders pillaged the outskirts of the city. And so, some of us decided that it was time to leave, that we'd rather take our chances in the wilderness, seeking the promise of a new land, than starve to death in our homeland. The journey wasn't easy. We lost many along the way. This wild, unsettled land offers us the hope of a new start as the masters of our own destiny.
Okay, so we're in the game. We've finished scouting the surrounding area, survey the land the villagers have explored, and choose a promising site to construct our town centre. So we start the game off and we get to place our town centre, of course. Just a little moment to appreciate how beautiful this game looks, right? This is such a good looking game. Huge fan of it. Anyway, so let's place down our town centre. Yes, we're sure that we want this to be the location. And then our villagers are going to migrate over. Okay, so we'll start chopping it down. So there's a lot of information on the screen here, and I'm very much still learning this game as we go. We have a storage cart here, which I'm just going to move out the way for the time being. We're going to start by grabbing some dirt roads in the bottom right here. I'm just going to draw a little dirt road frame around the edge of the town centre. Similar to city skylines, right? But this is really cool. So we're going to start harvesting some resources here, and we can untick which resources we actually want the villagers to harvest. At the minute, I want to harvest everything. So I'm just going to do a big swoop and drag, and that's going to highlight all of these trees and indeed stones, bushes and berries to be harvested over here as well. Looks like we've already got a wolf attack straight away. So this is what was being referred to when we have dangerous animals to deal with. And they're going to come in and absolutely annihilate the wolf. Obviously, these attacks get harder when bears come in, and we need to prepare for those eventualities as well. So this icon here is going to mean that the building site needs to be cleared of obstructions, so that's what they're going to do. Our builders are going to come in here and hit the wood. We can also use 1, 2, 3 and 4 to control our game speed. Again, similar to cities, and the controls here for city skylines players will be very familiar. You can use the mouse wheel to rotate, WAS and D to move the camera. All pretty familiar simulation controls at this point. So we're going to need 18 logs to get this town centre done, so they're going to go ahead and do that. So up here we have housing shortage and indeed food stores as well. Food is really important in this game, and it will spoil as well, so that's really important that we keep on top of it and try and stop it from spoiling, which there's a couple of different ways we can do that. Okay, so let's start bringing out some roads. I'm going to bring down a road here. Let's then bring it across by 20. And then we'll come up and hook it back into this one. And then we can come into our build menu here where we can find housing. And we can't actually build this until the town centre is complete, which should be in a second. There we go, fantastic. So we can use tab to rotate the buildings too. And then we're going to go ahead and get some houses down in this little grid over here. So it's such a pretty looking game. I've been waiting for a game like this for a long time. Like, I enjoyed Settlement, Survival and Foundation, but the sort of cartoony, cel-shaded art style isn't really my bag. But this is much more gritty and realistic. And this game is a ton of fun, guys. It is out on August 9th. I'll leave the Steam page link down below if indeed you want to come and pick it up. So we've got some resources in the top right here as well. Logs, firewood, planks, stone, clay, bricks and gold. All of which will be used for building our town. So there's another predator sighted here. There's a... Yep, they're fighting another wolf. Again, we didn't have this many predators when I first started. So, each of the map styles that we looked at the start of the game will also affect, how difficult the animals are and how many of them there is. So, that's something to factor in there as well. Okay, so we have housing shortage. These will be built once the areas are cleared. And we also want to get some firewood going as well. So let's come into resources and we want to build a firewood splitter. We're going to have this over on the corner right here next to our town centre. And then I'm also going to build a storage yard as well, or a stockyard. And let's have this up on the corner by the town centre as well. Wonderful. So like I said, food is super, super important. So we're going to come ahead and start building out some roads. And let's have a look at some of our food production buildings now. So we have a hunter cabin for which we can place nearby where we've seen deer, and it looks like over here. We can see this little icon on the map for deer sighted, and it's going to highlight some deer for us. There's also eggs over here as well. My brethren are in the game, which is very good. It's nice to see my people being represented. So we've got some deer over here, so this is going to be a good place for us to build our hunting cabin, which we'll have out this way. So we'll bring out a little road for it. You don't need a road. But it increases the villagers' travel time if they have a road to walk on. And likewise, we can also upgrade these into stone roads as well with our stone resource once we have it. So let's come back into that building, and we're going to go ahead and grab a hunter cabin here. And then let's go ahead and throw it down there. It's going to take 10 logs to produce that. And then he's going to start hunting deer for us, which is great. Let's also start bringing out some further roads along here as well, down towards the coast. So the road tool is really cool, and it doesn't always have to be snapped into the grid. You can do sort of different shapes and styles with it here. And you can also hold shift as well if you want to force it onto a straight angle. So it's really sort of cute road controls, nice and easy to work with. So let's definitely get a forager shack down as well. And we want to place our forager shacks near berries and greens because they're going to go out and harvest them for us. We can see we've got some berry icons out here as well. Which is really cool. So let's come ahead and grab the forager shack, and we're going to place this within the radius of something that they can forage. So there's some greens knocking about here. So we're going to go ahead and get that down. Again, it's another 10 logs to produce. And then we can also wait for these houses to be built because we do currently have a housing shortage, which is fine. And you will have shortages at the start of this game as well, which is something that I've found. So, you know, don't worry too much about the alarms that are flashing up here in the early game. It's very much just a process of waiting for villagers to clear down houses and areas and get the resources needed to build all of these things here. Let's have a little look at the animations. So you see he's building our dirt road here. Has the little sort of rope around it to show that it's, you know, in the process of being built. And just it's such a good looking game. Been waiting for this for a long time, and a quick shout out to our moderator Lands as well for pointing this one out to me. So we can see here that our buildings are going to need firewood. Of course, our villagers need to keep warm, for which our Firewood Splitter is going to be helping produce firewood for us. We can also add another worker into this building as well if we want to up that production rate. So this is fine. Another thing I've found really useful is to get a farm set up super early as well. So why don't we extend this dirt road down here, and then we can perhaps plan for a farm to be over here. So farming is super cool in this game. Kind of how I wish it would work in cities, to be honest. So we paint out the farm area, and we can see we have a fertility value here as well. So let's go ahead and get farmland painted out. And again, because it's a new building site, the site itself has to be cleared of obstructions before it can actually be built, which is, of course, expected. We also have seasons at the top here too. So you have midsummer, extremely hot temperatures. There's also weather events to deal with, like blizzards, which is really cool as well. So you've got some street eggs over here too. Okay, wonderful. So more people wish to join our settlement. We need to amass a 4-month supply of food and 6 houses, which is great. We don't have that many houses right now, so let's come back into our housing building menu. And then we can perhaps throw down a couple more houses over this side as well if we like. Let's go for those. We also have decorating options here as well, which is so good. We have little gardens we can build. And we can place down our own trees, so we can definitely get some repeated tree patterns in eventually, of course. But let's continue to mark out resources for harvesting. Okay, so all these trees here, these can all be harvested eventually, so the villagers will come and cut them down, which will eventually add into our log stockpile as well, of course. Okay, so our forager's hut is nearly done. She's going to start gathering greens soon, which is going to, of course, add to our food stores up here. So we're going to come into resources and build a saw pit where they're going to be able to cut logs into planks, which is going to be good. So once we hover over the buildings here, we can see that in the top right of the pop-up it has a negative effect on desirability, which is essentially land value for those familiar with city skylines. So we're going to build the saw pit over here around our town centre. So food stocks are low, this is fine. You know, we've got our foragers coming in now. Our huntsman is hopefully out hunting. We can see some deer over here. But I can't see him at the minute. Yeah, so again, he's going to want firewood to be able to function properly. So we're getting a few firewood warnings, so let's go ahead and add another villager into the firewood splitter. That should hopefully increase production for us. And again, we've got plenty of stuff marked out. So we also have this warning over here, which just disappeared as I said it, of course, which is a lack of water. So we're going to want to come into resources and we can build a well here. So we can build wells next to our town, of course, which is going to be helpful for the Sims that are living here. Why don't we build a well behind the houses? You can also place them near water for a water bonus, which is going to increase their production value. But you can actually place them wherever you like. It doesn't have to be next to water. One thing that does have to be next to water, again, just to start farming as much food as possible before we hit the winter. Let's go ahead and build a fishing shack. Why don't we get it here? So we can see the little blue markers. This is where our villagers can come and fish. So let's go ahead and build a fishing shack over here. And we'll hopefully see some villagers coming to help build this in a second. So yeah, there's lots of these little icons, you know, fish are over here, there's herbs, more berry icons too. And I'm not sure what it is, but this is such a wonderful, fun settlement, survivor, city builder, whatever you want to sort of call this genre of game. It's really one of my favorites, and you'll certainly be seeing more of this game on the channel. Let me know whether or not you guys would like to see this in streams or episodes. Either way, it will certainly be coming. We've had another villager attacked by the predator. Oh no, she's going to lose to that wolf, isn't she? And yeah, so she's been bitten by the wolf and she has rabies. Run, Verona. You okay? No, she's done, isn't she? Yeah, she's going to be done here. Looks like she was building our farm. But the wolf has taken her out. Run, Verona. It's like her friend's coming to save her. So the villagers will knife the wolves, and we can do different things to help this. We can build a tannery so they can have coats, which if they do get bitten by a rabid wolf, then they're less likely to contract rabies. But for right now, we do have a villager with rabies, which is not particularly good. So yes, it started from a bite or a scratch from an infected animal, and yeah, so she's dead now, right? She has rabies. She's going to go back and carry on building the farm. So the farms are really good ways of producing food, but they take a long time to get the fields down. They have to till all the soil, which does, you can see here, you know, it has 1,224 value, which is a long time to build a building with the labor force. So this is going to take a while, which is why it's important that we have other sources of food also available here. You will see your hunter come out and shoot the deer. Yeah, here he goes. Let's have a little look as to where he's going. So they're gathering the carcass. So it looks like the wolf that we just killed in the town. The hunter-gatherer is actually coming to get it. Yes, there we go. He just hacks it in the middle of the street. There we go, he's going to drop it off. That's really cool. So there's a current housing shortage apparently, but there isn't because we have enough homes. So there's not enough housing available for the number of villagers in your settlement. Build more shelters to prevent deaths from exposure to the elements. But yeah, we have 24 housing, so I think that's a bit of a glitch. Of course, this is an early access beta, so might be a few inconsistencies that are popping up that you guys might not see in the final release, hopefully. So we've had 6 villagers arrive. We can choose to turn them away or accept them. So I'm going to accept them in because it's more people to, you know, chop down trees and stuff and whatnot. But you know, you don't want to always accept people into the village because you might not have the housing for them, or indeed the food to keep them fed. Okay, so firewood is low here, but that's fine. We should be okay here, I think. So more people wish to join your settlement. A bustling market would help generate gold and attract new settlers to your growing town. Market stock houses and generate gold based on the number of houses in their work area. So that sounds fun. Let's have a look at the market, shall we? Which we can't build yet because we need a saw pit, which we already have. And then we also need to build the storehouse as well, which is going to allow us to store every single raw resource. So we'll build that there, which again is 25 logs. But you know, don't worry about kind of the logs draining early game. You can sort of just force your way through it, at least that I've found in my experience, because everything just requires logs. And we've also got a pretty hefty surplus of firewood now as well. So I'm going to remove a villager out of the Firewood Splitter building. And you can do the same with all these other ones as well. You know, if you need to be making more planks, then you can add in more workers into the saw pit. Again, for those that have played Foundation, you'll see some similar sort of mechanics to that game over here as well. So we have another villager succumb to illness. Oh god, yes. Oh no, she died. She died making the field. Verona died of rabies at age 20 whilst making the farm. It's not good, is it? That's not good. So the construction has also been halted due to winter. You know, our farm people, or farmers rather, will not be able to farm or build a farm in the winter. So it's important that we keep an eye on that. But deceased villagers, if you don't clear up their bodies and mark out a graveyard for them, they will attract vermin and spread disease, exactly as you would expect. So under amenities and services, we have a graveyard here. So let's come out and find an area where we can perhaps paint out a graveyard space. How about over here by the water within the housing area? This seems like it might be a nice area for a graveyard, and maybe up here might be quite good. So it's a zonable graveyard, which is amazing. This is something I wish cities had. Just super cool. So that's going to be a 200 labor force cost to build that graveyard. Now again, they'll come over here once they're ready. You can also click on construction sites as well and prioritize their building. We'll sort of show this off when we have one to have something to build anyway. So our fishing hut is here now. Wonderful, we have one fisherman. Looks like he's going to come over here, is it? Let's see where he's going. We can click on him. So he's shelter stocking, that's good. So he's going to bring some fish over to the main place. So because food spoils in the game, it's really important that we build buildings that will help stop it from spoiling. Things like a smokehouse. Oh, here we go, here's the dead mechanic. So dead villagers left out to rot will attract vermin and disease, almost like I knew it was going to say that, right? And the designated area to be used as graveyards to bury the dead, and villagers keep happy and healthy. Wonderful. Yeah, so we're already building a graveyard. That's getting built now. But so this smokehouse will dry and cure meats and fish, which will greatly reduce their spoil rate, which is exactly what we want to happen. So let's build the smokehouse over here. Again, which is going to take 15 wood and 8 stone. Let's just come back into our harvest resource menu here and make sure that we've got plenty of trees marked up for harvesting, so we continue to chop them down. And then here's our graveyard. Our hunter is shooting the deer from a mile away. And there he goes. He's going to run up and harvest the carcass that he's shot now. I cannot stress how much fun this game is, guys. Like, seriously. Like, you know, if you enjoy sort of my playstyle with the whole cities thing that we do on the channel, I'm having a ton of fun with this game. Easily the best sort of settlement builder / settlement survival game that I've played. Really, really fun. So we've built this storehouse now so we can build the market. Let's go ahead and get this down as well. So we'll pop this on the corner opposite the town centre. Let's also build a road through here as well, just to keep everyone interconnected. Allow them to move a little bit faster. So he's fishing in the winter on the frozen lake. I'm assuming he's knocked a hole in the ice. Ice fishing is exhilarating. There we go, and he's going to be cutting down some wood here for us as well. So we can see we're running low on planks right now, which is required for our marketplace. So let's come back to the saw pit, which is the building that sawyers cut logs into planks. So let's go ahead and add another worker into this building just to help up that production rate on the planks a little bit. Wonderful, but we've got some 4 months of food storage, and then also the months of food lost to spoilage over the next 12 months will also be 4. But again, you know, building buildings like the smokehouse is going to really reduce that spoil rate, and there's several other buildings in here as well that will also reduce spoil rate. So we don't need any more housing right now. We've got 24, so that's going to be fine. The wood resource is slowly climbing back up before being drained again, and hopefully we'll find some stone here to use in a second too. But food is really, really important. And you'll also notice that, you know, during the winter months... Here we go, is she being harvested? Yes. Did she just put that dead body in her pocket? She's burying a deceased villager. Okay, so she's picked up a diseased corpse. And I'm guessing he's going to drop it in the graveyard where we have 64 capacity for dead. Okay, so I'm assuming we're going to get a little headstone in here as well. Yes, we do. That's so cool. That's so good. Oh, zonable graveyards, everyone. Yes, please. Let's have this in Cities Skylines too, shall we? Very, very cool. But as I was saying, so as we come into the winter months here, you'll notice that the berries and the herbs and also the farmland become, you know, unharvestable because it's buried under snow. So that's such a cool touch. I'm a massive fan of that. And then we're going to come into year number 2 now as well, which is great. So yeah, we're getting some food stocks are low, which is again a warning that we want to pay attention to. We also want to be building some stone over here as well, so we can harvest this stone here. Yeah, let's go ahead and get that. Let's also start building some roads out this way as well. Okay, start preparing for some future expansion. Now let's go ahead and find out. So the map is huge here. There's a lot of space out here that we haven't explored yet. And, you know, I'm assuming that there's other settlements out there where, you know, invading armies will come. Eventually we'll have to build, you know, walls, which will be really cool. We can get field stone walls here too, which are going to not have any major effect on desirability. But there's, you know, palisades here. Fortified walls, so you can eventually have, you know, a real sort of large medieval sprawl once you start walling everything off and, you know, building all this up, and you know, with not procedurally generated maps, but with a map seed mechanic, you're never going to be playing the same map twice, and lots of different themes as well. Like we're in the Alpine Valleys here today, but there's just, yeah, lots and lots of possibility and plenty of replayability with this game as well. Yeah, so we need plenty of stone, which isn't really coming in at the minute. Hopefully we've marked out some areas here to come and collect stone deposits over this side, which will eventually complete our marketplace here, which wants one more stone, which just got delivered, which is great. Yeah, so food stocks are low. When the farm gets built, we'll have a lot more food. So again, just to help those food stocks along, let's come back into our buildings, into food production. And then we could build another fishing shack or a forager's hut here. I think we'll go for another fishing shack. We've got some possibilities for fishing over this side. So when we place it down, we'll see that the fishing productivity has a 280% buff here. So that seems pretty sensible to me. Or we can get that higher, 310. The land isn't quite ideal, but there's a production buff of 300% there, which is ever so slightly higher. So let's go for that one as well. Because I can't build the road through here, can I? No, okay. So let's just build it down here as well. We'll come alongside this construction site and then back up to this road too. And keep watching the town expand. But I'm really looking forward into getting into kind of the, you know, when the invading armies come over and whatnot, and that should be really fun. Some herbs over here too. A lot of eggs over this side. The possibilities for egg jokes in this series, everyone, is really fantastic, isn't it? Really cool. You can also play the game on half speed as well, which is cute if you need to sort of slow things down and manage things. But really cool. Really happy with it. Well, things are ticking along now, okay? So after a little bit of a rough start, after our first year, we're sort of, you know, demanding wood and stone for everything. We're starting to stockpile those resources now. Our marketplace is stocking food, which is great. But again, just to help reduce that spoil rate, let's come back into storage, and we can get a root cellar, which is a partial underground structure used to store food at a reliable temperature, reducing the rate of spoilage. So this seems like a good building to have, right? And it looks like it's gonna fit perfectly in here. Let's go for that. That seems quite nice, doesn't it? And let's also have a look at the decorating options, right? It'd be rude not to while we're here. Actually, have a look at some walls. Can we build a wall? A field stone wall. This seems like it might be quite cute. Why don't we build this here? Okay. It's going to use up some stone, which I shouldn't be doing, but that's fine. We should be okay. Yep, there we go. He's going to collect some fish. So let's see where he goes now. He's going to stockpile the fish, which is good. So he's dropped it back off here. And then his items produced in the last year, 138 fish. And we've also had 2 new villagers immigrate as well. And Felonia is immediately going to go start chopping trees. Already putting himself to good use. But things are ticking along nicely. The hunter's still gathering out. So we can actually manually control the villages if we want to head out and explore the map further. And for example, when we sort of, you know, these deer become, or where we dwindle the population down to the point where it's no longer sustainable, and we can actually move the target radius of the hunter's cabin further afield, and you can see how it affects the changes, you know, the biome that we're in affects how many days it takes, as does the trees and the overlap and the water and the developed land within it as well. So this is heavily developed land, so of course this would be a terrible place to go hunting. So there's lots of information to take in. It can be a little bit overwhelming at first, but my word, is it fun. So much fun. So much fun. You know, just different biomes and stuff. So what's up with here? No fishing range. Oh, I think you'll find there is. There's one right here. Do you want to sort of rethink your life choices? There we go. Okay, the warning's gone now. There is fish within range here. And, you know, this farm is taking a good long while to be built as well. So we've got extremely hot temperatures at the minute, which is a light breeze. A villager has been stricken with dysentery. That is not good. Are you okay? Walt? Okay, so dysentery is an intestinal infection that can cause vomiting and diarrhea. Villagers left without clean water sources are susceptible to death from dehydration, which is not good. Yep, so you can also have a look over here as well, and it will show you how many villagers are sick. Again, it shows that we have one with dysentery, which isn't amazing. So let's come back into resources, and we're going to build a basic well. Let's go ahead and throw this down by the waterfront. Again, fresh water for the villagers will stop them getting dysentery and quite literally shitting themselves to death. But otherwise, I think we can start to plan out some further expansion. So let's bring out this dirt road. Let's go straight, and then why don't we see if we can sort of veer off towards this lakefront here and eventually plan a road to kind of, you know, pan around this lake, and we can perhaps build some more foragers' huts out here. Okay, let's also bring this one out as well. There we go, we can see that map boundary is expanding now. And then we've got all these roads ready for expansion, and we'll also do a big sweep with our harvest resource drop point over here as well, so people can, you know, come in and harvest all these trees. And there's plenty more herbs and berries out here. You know, plenty more 11 secret herbs and spices. There's also mushrooms we've encountered now too. A new villager has been born. Falk, welcome into the village, Falk. And the villager has been cured. Wonderful. So he's lost his dysentery. That's great. So food lost to spoilage. 20 berries have spoiled at the market. And again, you know, our smokehouse is going to be smoking our meats. And again, it's going to need firewood to smoke it as well. So all these resources are getting eaten up. You know, sort of really small amounts all over the place, but you add that all together and it really starts to add up. He's left some fish in the road. You okay, Walrum? I think you need to come and get this fish, mate. So he has 100% warmth. He's very happy, 100% healthy. He has a pretty decent diet as well. Alright, cool. So why don't we build... There's a fair bit of foraging to be had out here, isn't there, by the looks of things. So this would be a good place for some food production. And then let's go for a forager's shack. Although the slopes are very steep around here, so we might struggle for a good placement. There we go, that seems good to me. But again, you know, if we're building very far out, if another wolf was to come over here and start attacking these people, then they're probably going to die. We can also build some defences, which we only have one unlocked at the minute, which is a lookout tower. And this will help protect our villagers from wolf attacks and bears and armies eventually. So I don't see why we shouldn't place this. Maybe perhaps towards the town. Or maybe on the road sort of into town here might be more acceptable. Maybe we can come... Yeah, let's have this on the road out this way. That should hopefully protect against any animals or raiders that come our way. Well, things are ticking along here quite nicely now. About to come back into autumn again in year 2. It's really cool. So we'll move through the milestones and we upgrade our town centre into tier 2. And this also gives you kind of a breakdown of the settlement as well. Like, we're meeting all of our needs right now. 71% of the workers' time is spent working. You know, we're meeting their basic needs, and you know, everyone's happy. 98% overall happiness is pretty good. It's higher than Ilos, so I can't really complain about that. Let's go ahead and expand our residential patterns. We will bring down a road here, and then let's go ahead and throw in a little bit of an angle so everything's not totally gridded. I think it does look a little bit nicer when it's slightly more organically built. And then we're going to go ahead and bring in some more houses here as well. So of course there's different tiers of houses too. You know, once we get to higher levels, we can build brick houses, stone houses, and you know, things start to get a little bit sort of more impressive as the village goes. Oh, here's our stone wall. Can we get a repeated rock pattern here, or a repeated tree pattern perhaps? It'd be rude not to try, wouldn't it? Let's go for birch tree. No. Maple tree. So I'm just going to do a little repeated maple tree pattern. Some farm fencing. Which is really cool. So 10 out of 10, right? It has walls and fences. And repeatable tree patterns. Game of the year, everyone. Game of the year. Okay, so they're clearing out these areas now. There is some berries that have been dropped here in the basket, which isn't great. Okay, so let's continue to build up our town centre now. The food is slowly coming in. We've got these smokehouses and the root cellar to stop that spoil rate coming in. Okay, so here we go. The farm is built now. So this is our crop field, so we can pick 3 crops to assign here. We can also expand the crop field as well if we want to get it a bit further up. We can also add sand and clay to the soil mixture, which is super cool. You can kind of balance it in the middle here. So there's several crops we can pick from here, and all of them are affected by crop yield, their tolerance to frost and heat, rock resilience as to how rocky the ground is, can you actually grow crops on the land, it has a grow time, and how fertile the land is will also impact the yield of the crop. So let's grow some beans, I think, and then we'll go for some carrots as well, and then also some turnips. Okay, and then we can balance that out. So we're estimated to yield 211 beans out of a possible 363. And again, we can see that it's affected by fertility, weed level, and rocks as well. So there's a lot to sort of consider. Farming's a really reliable way to get food, of course. You know, because they're not having to go out and hunt it or forage it over this side. Has this foraging cabin been built now? Yes, here we go. So our forager is hopefully out looking for 11 secret herbs and spices. Looks like he's on his way. Or he's still building the road here at least anyway. Oh, there goes a tree onto someone's house. That's not good. That's not good. Okay, so these are slowly being built. And let's have a look at our stockyard. So we've got 10 logs stored here, 8 stone. So basically all the logs we have are currently at the store yard. And then the same with the storehouse as well. We can, you know, store shoes here. There's clothes. I did mention earlier about the tannery. So let's have a little look at that. So there's the Fletcher building, which will of course fletch arrows and bows for the villagers to defend themselves and also for hunters to use as well. So let's go for the tannery. So this will cure animal hides and turns them into coats that help villagers work outside and survive longer in cold weather. Their coats also provide some level of protection from animal attacks, which is good. So that's going to help stop people getting rabies if the wolves come back. So we'll build a tannery there. That's going to be wonderful. He's going to want 20 logs and 5 stone to do that. Though my repeated tree pattern's taking quite a long time to come in there. You okay? This should be the priority really, everyone. Okay, so food loss to spoilage. We lost 38 berries and 30 fish from the market, which isn't amazing. That's not really sort of ideal for what we want, but it'll be okay. It'll be fine. We've still got 5 months of food in public storage. So it could be a case of maybe finding another animal icon if we can see one, as to where we've spotted animals that can be hunted. There's more deer over here. There's also more over this side as well. Okay, so because we've got those animal icons, let's come back into food production and we're going to build another hunter cabin out this way along the road here so he can come and hunt these deer over this side. Again, it's more logs, but let's just come into our harvest resources. Yeah, there's plenty of trees that have been selected for harvest over this side. All these have as well. It's just a matter of waiting for the workers to come in and pick everything up. So you will also have weather events that are tied into the seasons as well, like blizzards in the winter and heat waves in the summer. So again, you know, you want to make sure that your builders have enough water for the heat wave, likewise enough warmth and housing and coats and whatnot to survive the blizzards. So lots of cool things to manage, and it's a lot of fun watching your village grow up. Okay, all the little houses here, it looks like they have slightly different aesthetics, does it? Looks like they are the same. No, yeah, they are ever so slightly different every time you place them. So it's not the same assets all over, and which I really appreciate. That's really cool. So let's have a look under meters and services. We don't need anything here right now. Resources, we have the saw pit, we have the tannery. And so the cobbler shop will use hides to make shoes that enable villagers to walk faster and avoid injury while working. So that seems like it's going to be quite good, doesn't it? That's going to cost 25 planks and 5 stone to build. And again, let's just double check as to whether or not this building does affect desirability. It doesn't seem like it does. And we're sort of creating a little bit of a high street here, right, with all our service buildings. Very much in the mindset of cities here. It's hard to break out of those sort of terminologies that we're so used to in city skylines these days, right? But here's our farm. This is really cute. So it failed to begin planting. I think, was that due to the seasonality, was it? Or do we want to add clay? Again, I'm still sort of working this, or still learning the game rather. So why don't we change this to flax instead? That's actually failed to begin planting again, hasn't it? So the farms are over here. We have 2 assigned workers. That's okay. The food stocks are going up. We have 2 new villagers arrive. We're also in year number 3 now, which is great. So you see now it's come back out of winter. Our forager is back at work. Let's get rid of this here. Matter is foraging greens. Alright. That's good. All our villagers here hard at work. We also have some yearly taxes, which now accumulates into our gold report up in the top right here too, which is used to build stuff like our lookout towers, and our marketplace, I believe, will also generate some money for us as well. And we can also upgrade these buildings too, and with gold ingots and 50 bricks, which we do not have that resource yet. We need to start harvesting clay to get that. But it's all growing up. And it's just, oh, it's so much fun to watch, guys. I cannot stress how much I love this game. You know when you get a new game and you just love it and everything about it just pleases you? That's me with this game. It's very, very, very fun. So I can see an opportunity here for perhaps some repeated walls. Let's go ahead and get this wall down here as well. I'm also going to come back into the build menu, back into decorations, and grab those maple trees. And then just do this little pattern over here, and we can maybe add a little bit of, you know, detail and importance, and use some of that gold up to, you know, decorate a little bit of a street here as we come into town. I think it's going to be quite desirable, isn't it? I think it is. I'm enjoying it. These street eggs are still knocking about. Nobody wants the eggs. Apparently. Are we harvesting them? Yes, there's a bird's nest in the road. That is not the smartest bird in the world, is it? Okay, but we're having a storm. Love the weather effects in this game as well. Really nice to see the rain coming down. Okay, so we've got the room for 40 villagers. Everyone's immensely happy. We've got 11 months of food in public storage. 3 months of that food will spoil, and again, you know, building those buildings will, you know, reduce the spoilage rate, which is really cool. And then we can get walls and roads, defences, anything else we want to build here. A compost yard. So at the compost yard, night soilmen collect human and animal waste. Here we go, impending heat wave, just like 2022, right, for those in the UK. So the winds have died down and a period of sweltering heat has set in that could last for weeks. Ensure your town has adequate water supply, as villagers will need to draw more water from wells. Wonderful. New villager is born and 3 new villagers have emigrated as well, which is great. Fantastic. So yeah, we'll collect human and animal waste. I did not know you could turn human waste into compost, but whatever. Which is converted into usable compost, which can be added to crop fields to increase fertility. So really cool. So again, it looks like this has a sort of a nasty radius on it, doesn't it? Slope too steep, obstructed by road. You know, these sort of terrain challenges as well change depending what biome you're working with. I'm in alpine valleys here, so this terrain's a lot more uneven, and to my knowledge, there is no terraforming in this game. So you kind of have to make do with, you know, the landscape as it is. Okay, so yeah, if we click on this building site here, we can prioritize this tannery building site. So all the logs that are being harvested will be brought here first. And just little cool mechanics like that that allow the sort of build process to go a little bit smoother. Looks like our hunter cabin build site here has exposed some more berries and some more water, again, where we can look to expand here in future episodes or future live streams. Don't forget to let me know in the comments down below as well which you would prefer for this sort of game. And also let me know if you're enjoying this as well. You know, let me know if you're going to pick this up, if this is your bag, or you know, if it's not sort of your thing, if you're more sort of a modern city builder player. There's nature reserve fence in it. Alright. Around the town centre. That's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. Yeah, so the build is ticking over here. But this feels like a good place to leave it. We've been recording now for nearly an hour, so this should be good enough for an episode here. But yeah, we will leave it there, guys. Let me know what you think of Farthest Frontier. Like I said, it is out on August 9th. I will leave the Steam page link down below if you want to go and wishlist it. But we'll definitely be covering more of this game. Really, really fun. Yeah, Settlement Survivor. It's got this sort of gritty, more realistic art style. Lots of mechanics to get to grips with. And we were attacked by wolves immediately. This building storage is full as well, so looks like we need a new smokehouse soon. And lots more storage. We can also move our storage cart over here as well. And our tannery is built as well, so we'll also be able to upgrade the village hall at 30 population, which we're at 28 now, so we'll hopefully get to do that next time. Yeah, but I want to thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think of it down below. We'll certainly be seeing more of this on the channel. Really fantastic game. Cannot recommend this enough. Please go support the developer if this is your sort of bag. But otherwise, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.